What is up, guys? Tony here, and today I'm bringing you some more Black Ops 2 PC sniper footage. DSR 50, just like last time. This is pretty decent footage. I just run around sniping, and off the start, it's pretty boring. Trust me, the beginning is very, very boring, so just bear with the gameplay here. Towards the end, it gets pretty epic. So today we're going to be talking about, instead of just talking about, what's going on in my life and things like that, I thought I'd talk about something interesting. I try to relate to you guys, because I know a lot of my viewers now, the mass of my viewer base, is actually Mac editors, because these tutorials I do got very popular, and I have a lot of Mac editors who look up to my editing, and they think that I am one of the, best Mac editors out there, and I do good tutorials, and I appreciate that immensely. I personally don't think I'm the best editor overall, but I'd say I am a standout editor in the Mac community. I think I do a good job of it. I mean, if I kind of want to get into PC editing, but at the same time, I'm just so attached to Final Cut Pro. So, speaking of Final Cut Pro, we're going to wind back here a little bit. We're going to go all the way back to a time where Final Cut didn't even exist. Well, did it? I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe like Final Cut 1. We're going back to 1996. In 1996, I got my first computer. I was 2.5 years old, I believe. And that basically means, actually it was 1997. 1997, I was 2.5 years old. I was born in 1994. And I got my first computer from my grandfather. My grandfather was a very tech-savvy guy, and he was able to get me a pretty beefy machine. I don't know the exact specs. I'm sure it was something along the lines of a like 300 megahertz processor and like something like, I don't know, probably like 32 megabytes of RAM or some really shitty specs. But I didn't start editing, obviously, when I was 2. But when I was 2.5 till I was like 5, I really got into the world of computers. I really enjoyed it, and I did a lot of things like, of course, I messed with like games, like stupid fucking Sesame Street type games. But I also really got into like things like PowerPoint, and I messed around with PowerPoint and animating things. If you take PowerPoint, you create a slideshow, and you really speed through it, you can make a little animation. I actually made a little ball, like a little circle, bounce around. And I did that all on my own. No one sat there and told me, hey, you should try this out. I just did it. And I liked messing around with computers. So that goes way back to the roots of why I really enjoy editing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have a story similar to that. When you were younger, you messed around with computers a lot. And because of that, you became an editor. Same thing with other professions. Some people, when they were young, they always liked arguing, so they became a lawyer. Something along the lines of that. So anyway, that led to later on in my life really wanting to become a computer engineer, which eventually led to me becoming into programming. So in high school, I got into a programming class. I think I was in 9th grade. This is what, 5? Wait, not 5. That was not even close to 5 years. Well, no, it is almost 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years. No, wait, 3 or 4 years ago. I got into programming in my website design class. Did a little bit of Flash and Java and all that type of stuff. Actually, well, we mostly did Flash, a lot of HTML and a lot of CSS. We didn't really get into Java. If I was there, if I continued taking the class as in if it continued to exist, I think we would have gotten into Java. I'm not exactly sure about that. But anyway, so I started that, and it got me into the world of like more advanced computing. Because there was a point where I took a break and I just started playing console games a lot, and my PC started to become outdated. Well, I decided to really get into like doing things on the PC again, tinkering with PCs. And the first thing I wanted to do is get a Mac. I was big on the Mac scene, mainly because I got an iPhone, and I was really invested into that. And I wanted to try out Mac computers. I saw a lot of videos on the internet of people showing off their Mac. So I went ahead and I got myself, well, my uncle got me a Mac Mini. Really, low-end Mac, but a great Mac nonetheless. And I started my editing career by editing tech videos, basically reviewing iPhones and things like that, on a Mac Mini. Now, when I was doing this on the Mac Mini, I used iMovie, which is obviously basically the Windows movie maker of Mac, and I pretty much predominantly used that for every sort of editing I did. And later on, I actually bought a Blackmagic USB capture card to record gameplay, which is the equivalent of a Dazzle. And using that, I recorded commentaries, which I also edited on iMovie. Now, later on, I did join a clan called Savage. They're not popular at all. You wouldn't know they are. But I started editing like montages, quote unquote, on the iMovie once again with the Blackmagic USB. Now when I was doing this, I was mostly doing just pretty much put music in the background, add like some cheesy effect and a few transitions, and just throw the clips in there, maybe do a little bit of slow-mo. And it was pretty boring. It was pretty boring, not synced. It was just, you know, old school montage style. I mean, a lot of people were editing like this anyway, so it wasn't like I was below the standard, to be honest. It was actually pretty much the standard of editing back then. FaZe had videos like that. It wasn't really that good, though. It wasn't well done, obviously, because I was a novice editor. You can actually go watch those. Look up Savage Gaming, and you can probably find it all one word, quote-unquote. Anyway, so I started off doing that, and then 6 months down the line, this was back in 2009, by the way, when Modern Warfare 2 came out. And down the line, I started watching a lot of editors, and I really became invested in the concept of becoming an editor. Because at the time, I was mostly a player. I wanted to become an editor, mostly because I was inspired by Joe Handsome. Most of you guys probably know who he is. Awesome editor, very old school. He's not around anymore, but he inspired a lot of editors, and I'm sure a few of you guys have been inspired by him as much as I have. So, yeah, anyway, Joe Handsome inspired me. I decided to start editing, and I decided to start focusing on syncing. That was the first thing I really wanted to focus on. So I think it was probably the summer of 2010, I really focused on editing my own COD 4 footage, and really focusing on syncing up to chill songs mostly that were non-copyright. You can actually find some of those edits. Can you? I don't think you can on my channel. Probably not. I could probably re-upload them in the future sometime, because I had to delete a lot of them when I got a partnership. So anyway, moving on. I got really good at basically syncing. So if you guys are ever wondering why I'm so good at syncing, it's because I've been syncing for years. I mean, the main thing I've focused on for essentially 2.5 years now is syncing. I mean, when you're syncing for 2.5 years, I'm using the word syncing a lot. When you're doing that for 2.5 years, you get pretty good at it. I mean, it's just like anything else. Basically, it's practice, nonetheless. I mean, that's that. You gotta practice it. Anyway. So really, first off, just syncing, just making sure everything looked nice, fit and finish, no effects. Later on, I wanted to get into themed montages, and I wanted to edit more like Agony, well, not Agony, just, you know, the bigger editors, and make the montages seem more like, you know, professional, and do all the effects they did. So I decided to push iMovie to its limits. By the way, I'm editing on iMovie at this point. I pushed iMovie to its bare limits. I did a little Black Ops 1 tritage, three players, I think maybe quadtage, maybe 4 players, I'm not sure, called Breathless. You can probably find it on the internet somewhere, and it was pretty much one of the best edits that's out there on iMovie. I guarantee it. It was really nice, really smooth. The clips in it were probably the best Black Ops 1 clips ever, in my opinion. They were sick, and it was a really cool little edit, and it really got me into the concept of themed edits. So once I did that, I moved on to the fact that I needed a more pro program to allow myself to expand my ability to edit better. So I decided to try out this program called Final Cut Pro. And Final Cut Pro took a lot of time to get used to, and it took a lot of basically just fiddling around, because to be honest, there's no tutorials out there. A lot of you guys know there's no tutorials out there. So I had to fiddle around with Final Cut Pro myself, and that's how I got to the point I'm at now. And of course I make tutorials because I didn't have any tutorials working on Final Cut Pro, and I try to help you guys out. So that's my history of editing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.